What's up, traders? Matt from the Trade Brigade here with your weekend crypto report, where as always, I do a technical analysis and give you my thoughts on the coins listed up above. There have been no major changes to our watch list. We're sticking to the core 5 until the daily uptrends can firmly start to break back to the upside. The reason I say firmly with some emphasis is because you can see on the Bitcoin daily time frame here in front of us, we are getting the start of a double bottom here, which of course is a reversal pattern for more upside, not continuation to the downside. But I do want to also remind you, before we get overly excited, we've seen this picture before, right? Right here, we technically had a balanced range. It's not as firm as a double bottom, but we break the top, reject back in, and as soon as we hit the trend line, it's back to the downside. Now, granted, there were some catalysts in this section here and this section here. This was the Luna debacle, and this was the breakdown in Celsius, right? So I'm not entirely sure that we get a huge down leg like what we've been seeing recently, but I am saying we're not out of the woods yet from a downtrend perspective, even if we do start to see some acceptance above this neckline. And as I'm speaking to you on this Friday afternoon session, you can even see that we're putting in an indecisive doji as opposed to a firm green breakout candle up and over the neckline. So a couple of things that I would be watching out for here on the Bitcoin daily time frame. Here is a balanced range technically. It did manifest as a double bottom because there happens to be two distinct touches to the lower end of the range. But if this is going to turn into a look above and fail, and we close back down underneath the neckline of the double bottom, underneath the top of this daily balance, we know that the target should technically be the bottom end of the range, which would be bringing back into play $18,600 per coin with three touches all to the same level in fairly short proximity of time. I would certainly classify that as a flush point. Also, with the failure from the buyers up at the top, it would just be another indication of weakness as opposed to strength here in the crypto markets. So, is it starting to change our tone a little bit, being up and over this neckline? Yes, don't get me wrong. It is a very short-term bullish implication, but in the grand scheme of things, there's still so much work to be done before the crypto space, and really Bitcoin, which is acting as a leader, right, is improved to the point where we would firmly say, yes, we're in a new uptrend. Things are good. We clearly have strength back to the upside. It's not there yet. So yes, I am acknowledging the strength of the double bottom, but we're not out of the woods. Even if we just go to a weekly time frame, this is kind of like the end all be all in terms of determining trend, right? If you look at what's going on here, I mean, you can clearly see we're not out of the woods from the weekly trend perspective until we either make a higher high above this area, 30,000 Bitcoin. That doesn't seem to me like it would be a likely scenario for this upcoming week. Or if we make a significant move higher, it doesn't have to be a higher high yet, but a higher low pullback develops, and then we do something like this. Obviously, we don't really have the possibility for a higher low pullback just yet because we haven't rallied significant enough, right? So to me, still so much work to be done before we would classify this as bullish, but I did want to again acknowledge on the daily time frame here that yes, you would technically be correct if you said that the double bottom neckline is being breached on this Friday session. Is it happening on decent volume? Yeah, I would also give that a little bit of credit where credit is due, right? This is happening on an increase in volume instead of a taper in volume. But I said the same thing about the selling that was happening here, right? So you can see an increase as we sold, an increase as we bought. So ultimately, it would require really a high volume node, something that looked like this, before we would say, okay, this type of volume is significant for the pattern that's unfolding at hand. So that's what I've got for you in the Bitcoin daily time frame here. Got to make sure that it stays above 21,600 if you're bullish, and if you're bearish, you want to see a look above and fail for the move back down into $18,600 per coin. From there, you would reevaluate the chart. I would also just remind you that this is still well within the bear flag consolidation range, and we can clearly see that if we take out the fibs from the top of the breakdown, which is up here technically, all the way down to the lows. Really, we don't get out of the bear flag consolidation until we can clear the 38.2 Fibonacci, which is aligned with these highs, roughly $23,000 per coin. So that's Bitcoin in a nutshell. Let's move along here and take a quick peek at Ethereum. Any relative strength, relative weakness? What's the deal? Firstly, let's scrunch up the chart. Bearish, obviously, still a lot of distance before we get to that resistance trend line. If we go ahead and take a look at the weekly time frame, if we were to make a new higher high here to reverse the weekly trend, obviously that would require getting up and over about $1,800 per coin. Doesn't strike me as a likely possibility, at least into this upcoming week. Could it happen over time? Yes, but is it changing the trend in the short term on the weekly time frame? Not really. Not really. So back down to the daily to talk about nitty gritty, the pattern, and of course the levels that are in play here. You can see that this, unlike Bitcoin, has not breached the top of the range in here. That's going to be $12.50 per coin. If it were to break, look left, we do have thin structure through here, so we are expecting a little bit more firm of a breakout if that were to unfold. Again, if the volume wants to be significant on this move, something that would mirror the look from in here and not so much these small volume increases that we've been seeing, that of course would give you more confidence in the breakout instead of less. Is this a double bottom? Yes, technically we have a low and a higher set of lows, so it's a higher low double bottom, right, which is going to give you another added piece of confidence for a short-term breakout over this to get into the resistance trend line. Again, that number is 1250 to put it simply. If we get the look above and fail and we close back down underneath 1250, the bottom of the range and our higher low is the target here at $1,000 per coin. It's also just a nice easy psychological number. I would imagine it kind of acts as a magnet if we fail any sort of breakout up at this 1250. Your resistance trend line, it really depends on what time of week, if this breakout unfolds at all, but it could be roughly I wouldn't really say that the market would want to do something like this here on Ethereum and put in one massive green bar. I would think that this move would kind of grind higher. Maybe it's going to be in play around the 1500 mark. We'll see. It would really require reevaluating the chart when and if a breakout does occur. To quickly throw the Fibonacci's on and stay congruent with what we just did in Bitcoin, here we go from highs down to lows. We're right at the 38.2. So if this were to break out, maybe the 61.8 is your next target. We don't have the 50% retracement on there, so let's go ahead and put it on real quick. Here we go. Where's the 50? There's the 50. We'll just quickly make it blue to make it all the same. Good. So your 50% retracement might act as the intermediate target if we start to see a breakout here. That's going to be 1375. That's how we'll say it. 1375 here inside of Ethereum as an upside target if we break out up and over that 1250. So that's a breakdown here. Overall, still bearish in the long term. In the short term, could it be the start of a reversal? Maybe. We'll give credit where credit is due, right? Binance Coin up next. This one looking the best so far with the clear indication of a higher low, right? So from here to here, very obvious higher low double bottom. There's your neckline. It should technically be a little bit higher. Let's adjust this. There we go. And we're getting into that right now. That's around 242. So if 242 can firmly break, and again, look at the candle structure that's being printed as I'm speaking to you, indecision doji instead of solid green-bodied bar, firmly, proving the breakout. So a little bit skeptical at first, but I'll give it at least one more higher low pullback and reattempt for the break. If the break does come, the target's going to be here, 258.70 coming from, if we pop this on auto and scrunch the chart way up, 258.70 is coming from all of these touches from in the past. It was a descending triangle, really. Big area of support, right? Big technical area here inside of Binance Coin. So that would be the upside target in the short term. And then anything after that, resistance trend line, as well as this horizontal support from here and the breakdown point, which was 285.90. Let's throw the fibs on this as well, just so everything's the same today. No special treatment in crypto land. Here we go from highs down to lows. We're at the 50% retracement. So you can already see, based on a relative sort of strength, relative weakness perspective, it's doing a little bit better than Ethereum and Bitcoin in terms of taking back some of this downward move from in here. So Binance Coin, if you're looking for relative strength, if you're looking for longs, this might be where to do it. All right. So we have our breakout number. That's 243, 242. If we can clear it, first target's 258 and then 285. To the downside, a failure here, of course, puts back into play the first higher low set, which was 207. Next up, we've got Cardano. What's going on the small coin? Still looking horrific. This is not getting any love like some of the other coins are with their double bottoms that are in play. We still clearly have sort of a descending triangle. All of these flat lows are still in place. Now, granted, yes, we are getting a little bit of lift off the lows here, but it's nothing significant. So we are underneath this, if we were to break down rather underneath 44 cents, look out below. There's quite a ways to go until we hit 27 cents, and that would obviously be a huge bearish implication for the crypto space in my estimation. Anything that breaks out here would require a move up and over our 54 cent mark. If that were to happen, so consolidation happens in here, if we break out up and over 54 cents, that's probably the next bull trade here inside of Cardano up into 65 cents. Okay, so kind of a patience play here, really nothing to be done just yet. I would stay far away from the cheap coin, the cruddy coin. The pattern is ugly. Last but not least, we've got Solana. Then we're going to wrap it up. We'll send you on your way for your weekend. Let's go ahead and take a peek at what's going on here. Certainly a higher low in place. You can see we have from here to here. That is a slightly bullish implication, but we are not yet at the neckline of any given breakout point, which would roughly be about $42. So let's go ahead and remove some of these past levels that are no longer as pertinent. Here we go. That's going to be your breakout point, 42.67. If it comes, boom, there's your next target overhead at 48. So there's still some work to be done. I would imagine a first pullback, another higher low, and then reattempt. Builds obviously an ascending triangle. That's a bullish pattern. And then you're looking for the breakout. If we stuff here and obviously roll back over and then put in a lower high afterwards, that would be the bearish implication to say, okay, we're probably revisiting this anchor low, the swing low around 26.25. So that's what I've got for you inside of Solana. That's what I've got for you in the crypto market. Are things looking like they could improve in the short term? Yeah, in the short term, they could be improving. Again, primarily just looking at the Bitcoin daily time frame here. The double bottom is firing up and over the neckline, but there's still so much work to be done, as we were harping on earlier, about reversing the weekly trend, about getting out of the bear flag consolidation. We're just not all the way out of the woods yet. So some signs of improvement, but not all the way there. That's the main takeaway from today's video. If you enjoyed it or learned anything new, let me know down below in the comment section or by giving the video a thumbs up. Don't forget that the weekly watch list video will be coming out as scheduled on Sunday. And with that being said, I wish you all a green trading week.